Hey guys, this is Thor Sandalwood, and I'm here on this beautiful morning, and I'm on 1 month on the lockdown already. Can you believe that? It's so crazy these times that we're living in, where we see basically all of society get shut down. These are some crazy times we're living in with this virus, and so I wanted to today really focus on where we're heading as a society, and also the transits I see, what's happening. Because as I watch the news, I'm also analyzing these with the transits that are happening as well. So, right now, we are really still in the hot zone of this whole pandemic. Here's the issue that I'm seeing, because Mars is still transiting Capricorn. We got Saturn in Capricorn right now, and we got Mars still transiting Capricorn. So I'm really seeing that with Mars here in Capricorn, Mars is exalted in the sign of Capricorn, even though it's owned by Saturn. However, Mars and Saturn have a very tumultuous relationship, and they're both considered malefic planets. So what I'm seeing right now with Mars transiting Capricorn while Saturn's there is I'm almost seeing civil unrest. I'm seeing, like, almost, I would say, like a civil war, even though it might not be an actual civil war. And what are we seeing? We're seeing these different forces, especially in America. We're seeing the Republicans and the Democrats. So we have Trump, who wants to open the economy as soon as possible. And then we have the Democrats, like Cuomo and Newsom, and these different pacts they made with different states in the East and then in the West, where they're saying they want to open up later. So maybe June, May, or late May, or June, July. So we're seeing a political struggle happen, even if it's more of a metaphorical struggle. Okay, so that's what I'm seeing with it, that we're really trying to come to terms with this. What I'm starting to see is when Mars leaves the sign of Capricorn, that's going to be May 4th. And so I'm going to be calling this May the 4th be with you. And that's a little Star Wars reference right there. But May the 4th is an important date, because I believe that we're going to start seeing a lot of the storm clouds that are around us right now. I believe we're going to start to see those dissipate. As we see, the pandemic seems to be somewhat peaking at this moment, and I believe that we're going to start seeing the actual virus numbers of people being infected or people dying from this. We're going to start seeing those numbers go down very shortly here. What's really going to be scarring us as a country, as a world, is this economic problems that we're having. So it's going to be, we're leaving this one crisis of the virus, and we're entering this new economic crisis, which is similar to economic depression. We haven't seen things like this since the Great Depression in the United States, which that started in 1929, went through the 1930s. It took the country almost a whole decade to get out of the Depression. Today, I learned that in 4 weeks, 22 million Americans filed for unemployment. So the economic consequences of this virus are huge. It has been said that all the jobs we gained since the Great Recession in 2008 have now been lost in 1 month. Can you believe that? And that's what we see with Ardra. Remember how Rahu's currently transiting Ardra, the god of storms, the god of destruction. As we hear about that a lot in the different holy scriptures, their various religions, that man builds up this great civilization, and God just comes forth in one little fell swoop and can knock down civilizations, essentially. And that's what we see with Ardra. So the society was getting a little decadent. I tend to think of all those people that were living these phony lifestyles for so long. The people that would start their Instagram accounts, and then they would, max out all their credit cards to be traveling around the world. And oh, hey, I'm drinking martinis in Greece, and hey, I'm having this wonderful thing in Fiji, and they'd be traveling, jet setting the world, but kind of a phony lifestyle since they were doing it on debt. This is the time of reckoning for all of that. All those lifestyles are coming to an abrupt end. Basically, what's happening is the only thing that's going to be left standing is what's real. What's real. And that's what we do in our spiritual practices. What are we doing? We're trying to find out what is real. Who am I? Trying to ask questions and figure out, who am I? What's real about me? What's real about you? That's the key spiritual search right there, isn't it? So, I mean, with this crisis, there's going to be a lot of pain. Now, after May the 4th, when Mars leaves Capricorn, I do see there's going to be a lessening of the pandemic response. We might see the states very sluggish about reopening, and that's where we're going to see the politics going on. So I believe that the Democratic states are probably going to try to stay under lockdown as long as possible. And there is a motive there, guys. Whether we like it to admit, there is a motive to see the economy really crash so that Trump doesn't win back in November. The motive is there. We have to be honest. Remember, this is about being real. We have to level with ourselves, okay? These politics can get nasty. And even with, as you know, a lot of people, they don't like Trump. Okay, I understand that. They don't like Republican Party. I understand that. But this is a time where we really are going to have to think about, we need to reopen the country. We need to reopen the US. We need to reopen the world as soon as possible. People think, that this is not so serious, but really, when you see countries like the United States or the United Kingdom, European Union, Australia, I'm thinking of all the Five Eyes countries. But if those countries, if their economies go into all depressions, it affects billions of people around the world. There will be people around the world that starve because they don't have enough food. And I'm talking about places in Latin America and Africa. This is how serious this is. This is not a joke. So this virus might actually be the very small tip of the iceberg, the smaller problem. The economic consequences of people possibly dying of starvation and malnutrition around the world is horrendous. We do need to reopen as soon as possible. The problem with this is if we get too focused on this virus, which I know it is dangerous, it is bad, but we're going to get in such a panic state where we need to realize life is not stable in general. When life is normal and you get in your car to go to work every morning, you don't know if you're going to arrive there safely in your car. Life is inherently not predictable. And this is part of that thing about life. Now, the lockdowns, we need to try to save the people. We need to take steps to safeguard our seniors and different things like that. But especially, we have to get our farmers, our food workers, food production back again. I'm so concerned about where this is going with the world. Because even when Mars leaves Capricorn on May the 4th, we're still going to have the aftermath. Now, imagine this. And we've seen these happen before, like when Hurricane Katrina came and it went through New Orleans. And during the storm, you're in the storm, you hunker down. Right now, we are in the middle of the storm. So we're all hunkering down, we're all under the lockdown. But then when the storm passes and the levees break, you're left with the cleanup. So we're going to be in the cleanup phase for the next 2 to 2.5 years with Saturn transiting Capricorn. This is going to be a test of everything in our system, guys. This is the banks, all institutions, anything ruled by Saturn is going to be reevaluated, possibly with Jupiter still being in Capricorn even when Mars leaves on May the 4th. That Jupiter represents expansion, okay? Expansion of government programs. Expansion of government. So this is not going to be the area that government gets smaller. It is the era of big government. But the issue is we do need the government during this crisis. We do need the government to bail out some of these businesses. Now, this is the issue as well. We're going to see a lot because of Mars still being there and Jupiter being there with the expansion. We are going to see, and like I said, I see that civil unrest with the Saturn-Mars dynamic. We're going to see a lot of fraud as well. Those of you who remember 2008, there was a lot of the bailouts went to not good organizations. A lot of these banks and these big corporations got bailouts back in 2008. And what did they end up doing? They either gave their executives more bonuses, or they ended up doing these stock buybacks just to make their stock price go up. So this is going to be a time of reckoning. We're not going to see the end of it yet. We still have Pluto there, Pluto in Capricorn as well, and that's Western astrology right there. But it helps me give me a accurate reading, knowing even some of where the Western outer planets are. It's all about, astrology is all about a model of reality. So we use all the information that we can get to make predictions. Let me tell you guys, I'm going to make a video about this in the near future. Donald Trump is not done yet. This is a very, very tumultuous time for Trump. This is a very much danger zone for Trump. But if he can weather the next few months, if things don't get too bad, and maybe he won't be able to weather it. We're still in this very much crossroads, fork in the road type of energy right now. If he can survive these next couple months, he is going to still be a formidable opponent for Joe Biden. That's what I do see, and I'm going to explain that more in another video that I'm going to do. We're going to look at Donald Trump's chart again. Right now, it is kind of batting the hatches for Donald Trump. We don't know. The energy is so much in flux. I see Biden on the rise next month in May. He's going to be entering his Rahu period. Biden's going to be on the rise. And it might be that, we see Biden's been making a lot of gaffes, having a lot of issues with how he remembers things, his speech and everything like that. But it might be that as this wrecking ball goes through the economy, and let's face it, lots of people are going to unfortunately pass away from this whole virus. But as this goes through this wrecking ball, what we're going to see next month, May, June, I believe, Biden is going to be on the rise. And that might be giving him the momentum to face off with Trump. Is just look at the landscape after this whole storm. We're basically in ruins. All the gains since 2008, all the jobs gained since 2008 have been lost in 1 month. Isn't that crazy? So what does this show you? This storm that we're in, this is way bigger than 2008. 2008 is going to be like a minor footnote with the mortgage meltdown and everything else. Yeah, it was hard for a lot of people. This is so much more intense, guys. This is an orders of magnitude bigger than 2008. 2008 was like child's play. Now we're really in the major leagues with this kind of disaster. This disaster is intense as 9/11 and even World War II. This is how big the changes are going to ripple through the world for years. Now, you guys have been seeing me hold this book, the Bhagavad Gita. Recommended reading during this point that we're in. It's important to get in touch with reading holy books like the Bhagavad Gita, the Upanishads, the Vedas. Even I do have a Bible, so I don't discount that, guys. I read lots of religious texts because I try to learn what the ancient rishis, the ancient prophets would talk about. Because ultimately it gets down to what's the most important lessons from the ancient scriptures like the Bhagavad Gita is that the ultimate source of peace is not in this external reality that we live in. The ultimate source of peace is inside your own heart. And as Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, I exist in the heart of all creatures. So that is the ultimate place, because economies will change, jobs will change, relationships will change, even governments will change. But the one thing that you always have as the anchor is the divine that's within your own heart. That's the source, that's the stone. It's the foundation of that peace that you can always have as an anchor. And that's why I remember even Christ said in the Bible, he said, I will be with you even until the end of the age. What was he talking about? That point in the heart. Always be with you. That's the most important thing to have. Now, I was going to read you guys something out of the Bhagavad Gita. Because during this time when people are losing their jobs and people are low on money, the temptation can be there for us to be selfish. We want to hoard the toilet paper. We want to hoard food. But this is also a tremendous time of grace and also trying to be able to live a life of service to help others, to help people around you, your neighbors, people you know that are less fortunate. Because this is going to be a test for all of humanity and for light workers to be able to help others. And so I'm going to read you guys a chapter from, or a quick quote from the Bhagavad Gita. And this is going to be from Krishna. And Krishna says, every selfless act, Arjuna, is born from Brahman, the eternal, infinite Godhead. Brahman is present in every act of service. And think of Brahman as God, okay? All life turns on this law, O Arjuna. Those who violate it, indulging the senses for their own pleasure and ignoring the needs of others, have wasted their life. But those who realize the self are always satisfied. Having found the source of joy and fulfillment, they no longer seek happiness from the external world. They have nothing to gain or lose by any action. Neither people nor things can affect their security. And right as a bookmark, I have Paramahansa Yogananda there. He's kind of like my bookmark card. Can you imagine that, though? That nothing in the outer world can affect your security if you're anchored in this heart, in Brahman, which is inside of all of you, inside of myself. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and please subscribe to my channel. I'm going to be making more videos. I'm going to probably be starting to take a look at more political figures, but also we are going to take another look at Trump's chart. This whole situation with Trump and with Biden, it's not over. It's going to be a wild ride all the way until November 4th. If we have an election, they're already talking about maybe things might get postponed. Maybe it'll be a mail vote. There's going to be a lot. You're going to see stuff in the next 6 months. It's going to get very crazy, guys. But I believe the virus pandemic, by after May the 4th, going into summer, we're going to start seeing it subside. We might have, it's going to be like a stock market graph. Up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Up. You know, we're going to have different areas of problems. But I believe we're going to be starting to make change on the virus. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.